Dana, will you join me as we get ready to take our walk around the city? Tom, do you have the one slide on the rest of the agenda, just so we're all in the same place here? Yeah, go ahead, if you can. We're gonna learn about InCitu, then we're gonna take a tour. They're gonna show us tomorrow with our phones as we walk through the streets. We're at the Whitney, and here's the address. You might want to take a photo of this slide. They're gonna walk us in that direction, then we have dinner. And the Marriott asked that we enter on 45th Street and take an escalator. It's only one floor from street to 3 because it's a double floor escalator. Pardon?
Where do you want me to start?
Why don't you talk a little bit about kind of how what InCitu is, how it got started, what it's doing, and then let me interview you.
There are several restaurants in the third floor. I think.
No, Dan's going to meet us there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dana. I'm an architect in my background from Tel Aviv. I'm based in New York for the past 6 years, and I'm the founder and CEO of InCitu. I'll give a quick presentation. I know all of us are quite tired by now. We'll explain what InCitu is and then walk outside to explore it. Thanks. I think I'll need to be here to take a look. Sorry. InCitu is on the mission to bring future cities to life through augmented reality to foster collaboration around the process of urban change. The problem is our cities, and we spoke about it today a lot, are at the forefront of all the challenges that this time brings to us. Climate change, geopolitics, urbanization, gentrification, inclusiveness, everything. But although we must adapt effectively and fast, we fail time after time, we planners, policymakers, designers, to effectively communicate our vision with the interested parties, which results to lack of trust in the system, with lack of inclusivity, and opposition eventually to any change. We leverage the power of data and augmented reality to take all the messy, inaccessible, fragmented planning information and turn it into tangible AR experience that is available on mobile, on every platform, iOS, Android, web, providing a simple toolkit to engage residents and stakeholders in the process of change. We're creating the world's database of the unbuilt environment in augmented reality, which is available, again, in multiple distribution channels, multiple touch points. We are obsessed with accessibility, and therefore everything we do is accessible through mobile. No headsets, no fancy devices, nothing that the regular person on the street cannot achieve. And we make sure that they are also, it's very easy to discover, and we will walk in a few minutes outside to actually explore how we discover this. This core database allows us to populate 3 business verticals. We work with the AEC industry, architects, developers, consultants of real estate developers to promote projects, to share them with their stakeholders in augmented reality. We work with city governments to take all of their planning data and enable it in AR to, again, create transparent city planning process. And we even provide this API to embed in other existing products. Again, we're obsessed with lowering the friction for people to just walk down the street and understand what's going on around them, how their cities are changing. A little on why AR, and this is an audience here that discussed this a lot just today. First, it's accessible, so compared to VR or other, or just inaccessible data or PDF or drawings. It's very accessible through only a smartphone, very intuitive. People are experiencing the change with their bodies. Our bodies, no one needs to be professional to translate different urban realms or different built environments, but we are all failing to effectively understand zoning laws, building codes, etc. So this is very intuitive, and it's empowering. The fact that people experience it on their own time, at their own device, really gives them a sense of agency when they explore and engage with how their cities are changing. So we started here in New York in 2020, launched the first version of the product in 2021, and piloted and did projects with different cities in different communities, different types of projects, from bridges to housing to even wildlife crossing, learning and really observing on the street level how people are interacting with augmented reality, with future developments, proving to ourselves the assumptions about how people will react to density, to change when they experience it in AR. Based on our learnings, that's okay, we developed several capabilities that really provide a real-world experience of the upcoming change, from real-time shadows to kind of interactive slider that the user can alone put the yes future, no future. Please continue. Good. Occlusion, which we will discuss today, and in the tour we will discuss the technology as well. So occlusion is a pretty exciting one that lets us see additions to buildings, and also the building in its context of the buildings that are supposed to block the view to it. Animated construction process, which also is very valuable when we talk about long-term planning and want to put time into the process and how it will change over time, and even off-site tabletop view, which in this specific case and in more cases, some places are not that walkable or that accessible to pedestrians, so we enable also the AR experience, yes, in real scale or tabletop, but when you're not on site. As we all discussed here today, this is a very interesting point in time when cities are considering how to embrace Web3, how to deal with Web3, the technologies themselves becoming much more and more ubiquitous and kind of broke the ceiling of gaming and self-expression. And politically, cities and even the real estate industry, which is even harder than cities, I would say, are rethinking how we communicate, how we engage, how we improve our processes with these powerful technologies. So we were in a phase that we learn all these amazing learnings about how people engage, what makes them excited, what features they need to be involved. But we're here in New York, a city that is data rich, all this open data about zoning, upcoming zonings, permits out there. You walk down the street and ton of construction, and we chase after developers to work with them project by project. And we ask ourselves, okay, what can we do with open data to enable, again, this low friction experience for people to just understand how our city is changing? And what we did beginning of this year, we took all the open data from Department of Buildings of New York and applied, developed data specification or simplification to the attributes of these permits, what is the physical component that is going to be built, and generated a full layer of the future that is available in each of the sites in augmented reality. We actually created thousands of projects. You can continue. Thousands of projects are made available in AR beginning of this year. And around January, when we completed it, or beginning of February, we asked ourselves, and my amazing team is here with me, Thais and Ziv. We have more team members outside of New York. We're 3 people here. We said, okay, what can we do to let people know? Because it's AR. No one can see it unless we will give them the access point. And we chose 20 projects. Since then, we had a little more, thanks to others in this audience. And we went to the sites and just unlocked them with QR codes and some guerrilla marketing of floor decals and these planning notices with the QR code, both for the iOS and the web experience. So we always provide by default the 2 touch points for the iOS app and for the web browser AR. In 1 month, we got hundreds of organic engagement. People actually do trust QR codes today, which is pretty different than where we were at 2 years ago when we just launched. So people see a QR and upcoming change, they actually scan and see. We have by now more than 15 hours of New Yorkers viewing the future in AR, and all of you will be part of it in a few minutes when we'll walk outside. Some of the impact or what we track. So we are, again, obsessed with accessibility and making city planning much more understandable to the lay person. So we prove that we, of course, broadening first the audience. We are able, through this web, iOS, and even integrations to social media, AR, get to hundreds of thousands of viewers, and this is here an integration we did with Snapchat and a project in Fifth Avenue, which is under review these days with 2 proposal scenarios, was viewed by more than 100,000 people. And we, in the specific projects that we give also service to the users, we track diversity and the demographics, and we did see, not surprisingly, that our audience is much younger, much more diverse, much more economically raised diverse than the participants in city planning. I'm very excited to announce here today that what we did in New York, we look now to go beyond New York, and we are looking for 6 cities, the first cohort of InCitu cities, to work with officially, to do the same thing we did here, to take their planning data, permits data, apply the specification that we developed on the very complex landscape here, and give them back all of their future in a bunch of QR codes that are available on each planning site to enable their residents to interact and engage with the future. So you can scan, and there's just a form to sign up, and there are ones on your desks, on the tables as well. And we are here, so Ziv, raise your hand, Ziv and I, Ziv, our head of design, Thais, our head of product. We're going outside, if you can just click another one, just before Jane Jacobs. So the tour now, very short, so I know everyone is tired. Nick is here too, our community person, which will help us lead the walk. We will meet at the first location, which is... Okay, yeah. So we'll just put it here. If you can go back just to Jane Jacobs and Robert Moses to end with the big impact. So historically, we're here in New York. Historically, planning has always been a fight. I really believe that this technology can help make it a conversation. And thank you. And thanks, Liz, for having me.
I need to ask you a couple questions that...
Sure.
I need other people to... Can you turn my mic on, please? Thank you. It's on now, okay. So when we first met again, you explained how this idea came to you. You were trained as a pilot. Can you kind of talk about that for a moment?
Instructor. Yeah, so
Okay.
So as I said, I'm originally from Israel. In my military service, I served in the Israeli Air Force as an F-15 flight simulator trainer. So in the early 2000s, I had the chance as a young woman to spend 3 years in an F-15 cockpit and actually see how this technology of a big dome with training pilots truly transformed how we proceed this process of training pilots to in-flight malfunctions, reducing costs, reducing fatalities, of course. And after the army, I went to study architecture, quickly fell in love with cities and specifically with how they change. So when around the time I graduated from architecture school, it was the housing protest of 2011 in Israel. Whoever here knows, of course, today it's even much more important, the protest for democracy over there. But I was pretty shocked with how complex the process of urban change is. It's not just design, it's not just planners, it's also grassroots movements and activism and top-down and politics and history and finance, and everything kind of comes together into a change in our built environment. And I couldn't understand why we can't apply the same methodologies of simulation and training with our bodies to educate or engage people with how the city is changing. And I always had this vision, and as a young architect there, I worked for 6 years as an architect in the city center of Tel Aviv, a small but pretty aggressive urban development realm. I felt that I can see the future. I just knew what will be built where, or what could be built where. And I thought to myself, why can't everybody see that? It's all publicly available information. All we need is to be able to raise our phone and see this layer of the future. Moved to New York to study in NYU at CASP, Center for Urban Science and Progress, with the goal to expand my toolbox as a person who shapes cities towards more tech-driven, data-driven solutions. Did a short internship in the Department of City Planning at the end of 2018 after graduation. Quickly understood that everything that I knew is broken in Israel is pretty much broken here too, just bigger. And that was the gong to me to go back to that old idea, which I could now give it a name of augmented reality, and try and develop this into a tech company.
So if I have it right, my translation of all of this is you went through every plan that anybody's given the city of New York and created terminology and a common language so you could translate it into what it would be when it was done.
Yep.
And I, as a citizen, can go to any building, look up the code, and then look at what the plan is now, or look at a neighborhood.
Yep. Exactly. So what we did here, that's what we do, yeah. And what we did here in New York, because we didn't have the official partnership of New York City, but there is a lot of open data, we had to make some assumptions, and pretty rough assumptions, to be fully honest here, of how buildings will look. And what you will see today, what we enabled here in New York, is not the official designs, but we took either Excel sheets of the land use and per square footage and how much stories and how much the footprint is going to be, and based on some assumptions of what residential should look like, what offices should look like, we did this rough estimation. We're giving a rough estimation of what this should look like. And we have the ability to very quickly just replace it with the official design if we get a 3D model, like we work with the specific developers or architects on the individual projects. So what we had in mind is, okay, we can stop and wait for the city to give us model or to officially work with us or to chase again after every developer, or we can give first residents the very quick assumptions of the density of how it will look like. Yes, this is not the official design. We had a lot of conversations in the team of what is the right way graphically to show that, and you will see that everything is very monochromatic, doesn't look like a rendering or a Photoshop or something that is official or about to be built. You can see that it's very simplified. My goal when we will work with cities officially is to actually have whatever will be submitted to the city will be automatically just there in AR. But at this point, it's more of a proof of concept of this can be done at scale, and just help democratize city planning.
One of the we just talked about inclusion, and I think that the gaps in conversation are often because people can't visualize, and this is a mechanism so that people can visualize. And in particular, besides the city of New York, my understanding is you're also working with the Obama Foundation on the headquarters in Chicago. Maybe you could spend a moment on that project, and
So
then
I
we'll go
will-
for our walk.
I think I will not do that because that's still under conversations and it's not official.
Next year.
So yeah, we'll stay tuned. But yeah, we have a great contact there, and we hope to get the honor to really enable also their project to Chicago residents.
Okay, so
All
like
good.
like in Charlotte, in Charlestown, as the mayor talked about the seawall creating a lot of backlash and conversation, you're creating an ability for people to see and engage in conversation. And we're going to all have an opportunity to go and see what's happening with New York now.
So we chose 2 out of the thousands projects that we enabled. We went there yesterday to kind of put the QR codes. So see if you can take the floor decal.
Should we do anything with our phones before we go?
No pre-download is needed. Just meet us there. We can walk together.
You wanna
So
put the
yeah,
map back up now.
we'll meet at 38. Another one. Yeah, 38 West 8th Street, just across from Washington Square, and then it's another 6 minutes to the next one. You don't need to do anything. Just follow us. Ziv here will, yes, we will hold this yellow thing. So find us, and yeah, we'll talk more on site. And thank you for
And
listening.
it's all on the way to the Whitney.
It's close
Thank
to the
you.
Whitney too.